Hey there, fellow adult collectors. Welcome back. David Eon here with another selection for your consideration from our Open by Chance museum. Fresh up from the museum is the Mattel Mork and Mindy action figure series produced by Mattel in 1979, which of course was the second year of the show's production. The show aired from 1978 to 1982, only 4 years, and of course the show itself was a spin-off of, you guessed it, Happy Days. For those of you who have never seen Happy Days, which is, based on the 50s, it's a sitcom based in the 1950s. Robin Williams appeared on the show twice as Mork, and it spun off. There were many spin-offs from Happy Days, which itself was also a spin-off. So a lot of history there, a lot of television history associated around Happy Days. And interestingly enough, whereby most of the other things associated with Happy Days, like the Happy Days characters and Laverne and Shirley, were produced by Mego. Mattel got the license for this in 1979. Now the show, of course, only aired for 4 years and was really not very good, if we're being honest here. It's a very rudimentary sitcom, very simplistic in the type of comedy that was being used. Fun to watch when I was a kid, but a little harder to watch now that I'm an adult. So if I'm being totally honest, I don't consider it really to be the best show, but there's still a lot of nostalgia associated with the show. And Mattel, of course, like I said, got the license. They produced this stuff in 1979, and they produced a few items for Mork and Mindy, but not very much, and really kind of random. These two are sealed, or actually all three of them are sealed, so I'm not going to be opening them up, but I can let you get a good look at them and discuss it a little bit. Now these are figures, these are 9-inch tall figures, so an inch taller than your average Mego figure, and technically they're dolls. Once again, taking a little poetic license, if you will, Mattel used the Sunshine Family, 1973 Sunshine Family doll molds to do the bodies for these figures. And yes, Mork is supposed to be in the package upside down. He was packaged upside down. This one is a sealed box. So if you see one or buy one where Mork is upright, you'll know that that package has been opened. A lot of people aren't aware of it and they package it incorrectly once it's been opened up. But yeah, they took liberties with the Sunshine Family dolls on several occasions. They used them for the Welcome Back Kotter figures. They used them for the Space 1999 figures. Here's a loose Welcome Back Kotter figure. That's Horshack wearing or put together with the Sunshine Family body. You see articulated at the knee, hip, shoulder, and neck. So limited articulation. They used to love to take these bodies and just slap a new head on it and give it some new clothing. Oh, look, it's an action figure now instead of a doll. But they never did do anything about this gigantic karate chop meaty hands that they have. So funny enough, they would often give these figures accessories that they couldn't hold. But that's your standard Sunshine Family 9-inch tall figure. Here's a Mego. Of course, this is a modern Mego, but it's the same height as the originals. Sorry, couldn't resist. Knock out Horshack there because he's annoying. But back to this. Mattel in '79 made a bunch of different things, but they're all kind of random. I'll turn the backs of these packages around so you can look at the back. There's no rhyme or reason to what they did here. These are some of the things that they produced, and not everything is pictured on the backs of these packages. All three of these packages show the same 4 items. So the back of Mork shows Mindy, the back of Mindy shows Mork. They have the 3 3/4 inch action figure, which is the most popular figure out of this whole series. They show the talking ragdoll, which I think was 18 or 20 inches tall, pull string talker, which of course, as I've pointed out before, Mattel was the king of pull string talking anything in the 60s and 70s specifically. Everything had a pull string on it. If it was from Mattel, it talked. And then there's this orc egg containing goo, and I don't know for sure if they ever actually made that because I have never seen it. I've never actually seen that in real life, in the egg or outside of it. In addition to the two 9-inch dolls, a Jeep was made for these two figures. The Jeep is a grail piece because they barely made any. They really just did not make too many. These were not selling. They were shelf warmers. Nobody wanted Mork and Mindy 9-inch dolls. They weren't selling. Mattel made a mistake with the size and with the production. That's why you can find so many of these still in the box now. So they cut off the Jeep production, and the result of that is that now the Jeep is worth a freaking fortune, and these two are kind of dead common. The Mork and Mindy 9-inch figures are pretty common, pretty easy to come by. Pam Dauber there said in interviews, I remember, that working with Robin Williams was extremely difficult. He was very hard to get along with because he was so random and so just animated all the time. Not in a mean way, but just hard to work with. And there's the Mork. For the type of molds that they're using here, that's not too bad of a likeness, because when they did this with figures for the Sunshine family molds to turn them into action figures, because you see this does not look like Horshack. Barely resembles him. I mean, I don't even see the resemblance. Not even in the outfit for the most part. But that's not a bad head mold. Now the Mork and Mindy carded figure, the 3 3/4 inch figure inside of this egg ship here, is the most popular one that they did. Everybody's looking for this. They love these, even loose. So mint on the card, you can get a pretty penny for this, but it's still not as much as the Jeep. The Jeep runs into the hundreds of dollars. And aside from the Jeep also, which of course, like I said, was not pictured there, they also produced a card game. They had like a card game. So all in all, it strikes me that Mattel got this license and then kind of didn't know where they wanted to go with it. They didn't know what they wanted to do. Said, okay, what can we do real quick here? Let's make a couple of 9-inch dolls. There's really not too many characters. Who else is left? Pam's parents, a couple of old folks, you know. Who are we going to make action figures of? So they bit off more than they can chew with this, and it just turned into a shelf warmer. It turned into a dog. They couldn't get rid of them. But because of the immense popularity of 3 3/4 inch figures at that time, partially due, or mainly due, to the high demand for Star Wars figures, the 3 3/4 inch Mork sold really well. Now, in addition to the pull string talker, you've probably noticed here, this one is also a talking action figure. The figure itself does not talk, the backpack does. So he has this gigantic, silly backpack that he wears that, of course, has nothing to do with the TV show. And you pull that string, and he speaks. He says 8 different things. And he has stickers that you could use on the backpack. And I'm going to go ahead and let you hear this one because, of course, he works. So let's see what he says. Now, this is definitely Robin Williams' voice, but it's kind of fast. Time for Dodo Dum Dum. wow, that's annoying. That's 4. 5. Repeating himself now. That's him cussing because he said Shazbot instead of you know what. Okay. Just trying to see if I can get him to say one more different thing. Guess not. I don't want to push my luck with it. Like I said, it works, and it works well, even though it talks kind of fast, but they all do. They all do. So have you seen these before? You might have seen them, like at conventions and things like that, because like I said, the 9-inch figures are pretty common. You may not have seen the 3 3/4 inch figure. You probably did not see the Jeep. I don't have the Jeep either. If I found one for a reasonable price, I might want to get it just because I'm a completist. I'm not sure if I would bother with some of the other stuff, you know, like the card game or whatever. I don't really collect board games and puzzles like all that. Not usually, although I do appreciate them. I do appreciate them. So what do you think of these? Do you remember these figures being out? Do you have these, or is this something that you'd be interested in? I have a lot of TV and movie character action figures from like the 70s and 80s. I think it's a really interesting connection to the nostalgia of those time periods. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of this. I sure hope that you did. Share it if you can, subscribe if you're new, all of that good stuff. Check out some of our other videos for more showcases of vintage and modern action figures, unboxings, demonstrations, discussions about collecting and the community, comic book stuff, you name it, tours. We do a lot here. We're kind of an all-in nostalgia channel. So I hope you enjoyed spending some time with us here today. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again soon.